Hey folks, with Tacitus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for joining this live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the issue of equal outcomes or equity, race, gender equity, that's diversity, equity, inclusion, ESG, that's sweeping across the Western world or has swept across the Western world, creating this insane dystopia. Functional dystopia while claiming to be some sort of social utopia or nirvana. What I was looking at some police fitness test data where, especially in the United States and Britain and around other parts of Europe, there's or the Western world generally, there's a desire to ensure their equal outcomes in terms of race and gender, or even making sure there's equal religious outcomes, that as many Muslims or Hindus get hired as do Christians. These are supposedly Christian countries, for goodness sakes. So how do they do this? So how do you get these equal outcomes? Now, if I had the job of looking at achieving equal outcomes, I would look at people that say failed the fitness test to go into the police, for example. And I'd say, okay, well, look, there's a fitness boot camp. We're going to talk about diet. We're going to talk about the exercises you need to do. You'll have personal trainers on hand. You're going to have all the exercise equipment. We'll put everything on, but you go to the boot camp. And if you pass the fitness test, we'll happily accept you as a law enforcement officer. That would be my approach. But instead, no, the equity approach is to say, all right, then, well, let's lower the standard. You've got to do a 1 mile run. Let's lower it to half a mile. Okay, we still can't get equal outcomes. All right, let's lower it to a quarter of a mile. Still can't get equal outcomes. Okay, let's lower it to 100 yards. Okay, now we can get equal outcomes. So they just keep on lowering the bar and lowering the bar and lowering the requirement. But it's not only in areas of fitness, which, you think you'd want a fit police officer. It's not only in the areas of fitness, but it's also in the areas of say, written communication or basic, and I mean basic mathematics. We're not talking algebra here or calculus or something like that. We are talking basic mathematics. If there's five units in this side plus 3, and there's 3 units on the other side, how many units are the total? And now it's age, but there's people even flunk those sort of things. So they've lowered the standard on that, or dispensed with it altogether. And again, the only objective is to achieve equal outcomes. It's not to achieve a higher standard or to bring people at the bottom end up to a higher. No. Now again, if that was me, I would sort of let's address the issue of the fact that you can't add up. 5 and 3 is 8, and everyone fucking knows that. So let's send you back to school to do mathematics. Now, if they say we can go and shove your school, okay, well, and then you're not interested. You're not really interested in coming to work here or of achieving or of being a quality law enforcement officer. So why don't you go and look at some other form of employment? That would be sort of my. But instead, no, that they just want to lower the bar. So I looked at one police fitness test, and it wasn't rigorous, especially not for someone who's supposed to be in their 20s. Now I'm 61, and I looked at it and thought, geez, I can do that. Now I'm in decent shape for my age, but I'm sure as hell not 18 anymore. I'm far from it. So I looked at it and thought, oh, I think I could do that. And so, but then I read on, because I had the thing, you got to do 25 push-ups, and you got to do so many sit-ups and run this distance and that sort of stuff, do so many squats and the like. So I had to look at that and thought, okay, well, I wouldn't call that a pushover. But then you read on and you notice that you've actually got several hours to do it. So you've got to do 25 push-ups, but you can do 2 push-ups at a time, then come back 10 minutes later. So it's not 25. Now, 25 full push-ups, by the way. We're not talking half push-ups off the knees. We're talking full push-ups here. 25 push-ups is not easy to do in a single pass, 1 rep, 25. You have to be in pretty decent shape to do that. And now I made it through the 25, but it was an ass-busting exercise. But only later did I read on that you can do 2 at a time over several hours. So I went through the whole thing, and I completed it easily the fitness thing. And again, I'm an old guy, so why they struggle? There's still something like a 30% fail rate, even with the watered down fitness test. There's still a 30% fail rate of people getting through it. I can't believe it. I can get through it, and again, I'm an old guy, so. Now, in terms of lowering standards, I'll talk a bit more broadly about it. As I think I've mentioned in the past, I do martial arts and everything. And there was one of the major martial arts clubs. They were doing the sort of the grading. So you get your various colors of the belt. So this is where the black belts are getting graded and the brown belts, and all that sort of thing. So anyway, so I was along with that, and I was sort of helping out really more as a volunteer. I wasn't getting graded on that one. So I was looking at it, and they've got a basic, like a warm-up sort of physical fitness type thing, and it's not. I mean, it's decent enough, but it's not ass busting, and everyone who wants to get graded has to go through this. So now, about halfway through, pretty much all but one of the girls had dropped out, and all of the boys were still doing it. Now, the deal was, if you couldn't hack that physical fitness sort of entry level physical fitness thing for the grading, then you couldn't be graded. That was it. You just weren't fit enough to be graded. You had to have a certain standard of fitness. But all bar one of the girls dropped out, but they still were allowed to get graded. So the fact that they couldn't hack the fitness test, the very first component of the grading process, we won't bother about that. And talking to the sensei, the senior sensei there, and saying, well, look, he was saying, look, if we apply the same standard of rigor to the girls as we do to the boys, then hardly anyone will ever get graded. So we accept money from the government to help us with the cost of the rental for the hall or the facilities and that sort of thing. So they're kind of leaning on us and saying, look, you got to work towards equal outcomes. And so that means pretty much every woman is failing the fitness test, but still they're being graded. Now, the standard of grading was yet another thing. The boys were still graded with rigor. The girls though were not. If a girl forgot something or couldn't do the you got to do certain falls, and you've got to demonstrate that you understand the technical aspects of the throw or the fall or the submission holds. So, you've got to show that you know what you're talking about. The girls couldn't do that, and many of them forgot. And it was always just with a shoulder, a shrug. She'd giggle, and the sensei, the grader would say, oh, okay, well, look, let's go on to the next one. But the boys didn't have that sort of latitude. If you didn't know or couldn't do it, that was it. So you're not going to get the grade, buddy. Go back to the beginning. And so nor were they. And they maybe the boys were given, say, one more attempt at it. It was okay. All right, you got a bit flustered, you forgot, or this or that. But the girls weren't. The girls could attempt it as many times as they wanted, and could just simply keep on going. So, do you want to have another try at that, Susie? And you do? All right, then. Well, let's go. Now, if she fluffed up again, it doesn't matter. Do you want to have another try? And so on. So the standard was lowered to a point. I mean, the standard was lowered to the floor. It's floor level, the standard. Now, there was occasionally one that might somewhat meet the standard, but there wasn't one girl who got graded that met the same standard as the boys. This was the point. So again, the standard was the bar was lowered, and they just kept on lowering it. And in the end, they threw the bar away altogether when it came to grading the girls. Now, I mean, if you even make it onto the mat and you're sort of dressed in your judo uniform and saying, that's enough. That'll get you the grade. So you have these women running around with black belts and so on who wouldn't have made it into the entry level. Again, they can't even make it through the fitness thing. So, and this is applying diversity, equity, and inclusion gives this, imposes this everywhere. And I get it all the time in business meetings that I go to, that me and my colleagues go to, that the diversity, equity, inclusion people are everywhere in business now, and particularly in businesses that rely on government contracts and the like. So this is the thing, the lowering of the sample. What does it give us in terms of a better society, a more efficient workforce, or more effective police force? It doesn't. It gives us nothing. All it does is create this delusional situation where we can all pretend that we're all equal, but in fact there's nothing of the sort, when one party is held to a high standard of rigor, whereas the other party is held to a no standard of rigor. You've been with Tassos today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.